Where is stillness and welcome peace in a raging world? Over the house of the destitute, over the palace of the prince, delirious black clouds flow endlessly on. What is the end to be? What the end? While the hand moves, emptying great tears. Where is conscience? Where is conscience? Mankind screams from its very marrow, cries endlessly for help. Let birds fly. Let compassionate mothers quiet the suckling child. Let the vast universe live in peace. Let us live. Let all people live. Salam, shalom, in peace.
Manuel Grande, que él era soldado, él fue matado en Luleburgas, en celeste guerra lo que se vino, las crueldades de la la armada turca era comandada por el ministro Enver Pasha. Adelante, adelante, iban gritando a adelante, adelante, iban gritando a irme, iban entrando. Dicho seas tu recatina, casa es todo este mar, gemidos amargos de criaturas iban subiendo a las alturas, gemidos amargos de criaturas iban subiendo a las alturas. Madre mía, tú y querida,
Come, let us make the merenda, the Hanukkah feast. You bring the flour, and you bring the oil, we will make buñuelos. And sign those petitions.
Haceremos una merenda para lo dire y a la mar en Rumea Laura gitana se de un peque hasta diez yarama que tu te ama la otra gitana de un saco hasta diez yarama que tu te ama para hacer buñuelos en los días de Hanukkah y alabar en tu amor. Haceremos una merenda ahora por lo libre y a la mar en Rumea la una gitana se de un teneque hasta diez y a la mar en Rumea la otra gitana de un saco hasta diez yarama de Rumea. Para hacer buñuelos en los días de Hanukkah y alabar en Rumea.
Esa la llave que estaba en cajón, mis nonos la trouxeron con grande amor. La dieron a los nietos desde ellos y el corazón de nuestra casa de España, de nuestra casa de España, de España. Sueños de España, sueños de España.
rose water to adorn your face while the mandolin plays. Aguarosa te merki, que te laves la cara. Aguarosa te merki, que te laves la cara, para incontrarme yo contigo, la tarde y la mañana. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. En tu ventana voy a posar, tañendo mandolina. Aguarosa te merki, que te laves la cara. Aguarosa te merki, que te laves la cara, para encontrarme yo contigo, la tarde y la mañana. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. En tu ventana voy a posar, tañendo el mandolina.
la trascero con grande amor. La dieron a los nietos es el corazón de nuestra casa de España, de nuestra casa de España, Sueños de España, sueños de España.
rose water to adorn your face while the mandolin plays. Agua rosa temer que te laves la cara. Agua rosa temer que te laves la cara para incontrarme yo contigo la tarde y la mañana. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. En tu ventana voy a posar tañendo mandolina. Agua rosa temer que te laves la cara. Agua rosa temer que te laves la cara para encontrarme contigo la tarde y la mañana. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. A medianoche voy a pasar con todos mis amigos. En tu ventana voy a posar tañendo el mandolina.
Hard concert to put together. because we literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, and we're all deeply attached to all of them. And I thought probably a 6 or 7 hour concert might not be, but we're approaching that, aren't we? No, might not be a good idea. So we had to pick favorites, and these are some of them. That's about to be another one.
Jag står på dig, aj galana, 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 aj galana. Galana, galana, ay galana, ay galana, ay. Jag står por ti, ay galana, galana, ay galana, galana, ay galana.
In the sea there is a tower, and in the tower my beloved. If the sea were made of milk, and I were a fisherman, I would fish my troubles with words of love.
En la mar hay una torre, en la torre una ventana, en la ventana hay una niña que a los marineros llama. En la ventana hay una niña que a los marineros llama. Dame la mano, paloma, para subir yo a tu nido, para ver tu sueño dulce, donde te echas a dormir, para ver tu sueño dulce, onde te echas a dormir. Io me echo en cabalga, tu debaixo del xalexí, maldicia che dormi sola, vengo a dormir contigo. Maldicia che dormi sola, vengo a dormir conmigo. Si la mar fuera de leche, yo fuera pescador, pescaría los mis males con palabricas del amor. Pescaría los mis males con palabricas del amor.
I fell in love with the spirit of the night, but the moon deceived me.
So many strings, so little time. I will begin to tell the tale, the great story, and all who are my friends, come and feast with me.
Once, the moon came to the sun with a complaint. She said that the sun was able to shine during the day when it was warm, and she could only shine at night when it was cold. Well, the sun heard this complaint and decided that it would make a garment for the moon. So all the great tailors were gathered together in the village. The simple tailors were not invited. They said, we won't go anyway. And the great tailors gathered to try to find out, to figure out among themselves, what could they make for the moon? It had to be some kind of material that would become the size of the moon when it was full and then shrink to a smaller size when it waned. And no matter what they talked about, they could not figure out how to do this. And the simple tailors said, well, we'll try. He said, how can you try? We're great tailors. We have great minds. You're simple tailors. Do the math. But the simple tailors, they discussed this until finally a poor tailor named Yankel, this is a Jewish story, a poor tailor named Yankel said, I have heard of a place where there is a fabric that is woven out of light. And this fabric can stretch to any size or shrink to any size. And the tailor said, that's what we need. We need that kind of fabric. And so it was decided that Yankel, the poor tailor, would go in search of the fabric. And the simple tailors gathered together a few kopecks to pay for this fabric. And Yankel packed a bag and got a few loaves of bread, and he began his journey. Now Yankel traveled all over the land. And everywhere he went, he stopped and asked people, do you know a fabric made of light? Because my fellow tailors and I are going to make a garment for the moon. And people, of course, they laughed and said, ha! There goes Yankel the fool! But as Yankel lay on the ground at night, and as the evenings became colder and colder, Yankel thought that he saw the moon above him shivering, and this made him even more determined. And one day, Yankel came to a wide river, and he had to cross this river. And it was a long journey, and as he sat in the riverboat, he thought, maybe I'll ask this old ferryman. Maybe he will know the answer to this. And he said, can you tell me, have you heard of a place where there is a fabric made of light? And the ferryman said, yes, I have. When you reach the other side of this river, you will find a city where there is fabric. And Yankel thought, is it really true? The fabric made of light? Yes. And is it expensive? And the ferryman said, well, the fabric is made into a gown worn by the queen. And Yankel thought, how can I possibly afford the fabric from a gown worn by the queen? But Yankel entered the city. And as he entered the city, he saw that all the people in the city were walking around with long faces, their heads held down, and they looked very sad. And Yankel said, excuse me, why are you looking so sad? We're looking sad because our queen is sad. And Yankel thought, if the queen is sad, she will never give me anything. And so for a few days, Yankel joined them. He walked around with a long face. Until one day he decided to ask the question, why is the queen sad? She's sad because she has nothing to wear at her daughter's wedding. The garment she has that's made of light has begun to unravel, and there are no tailors who know how to fix this. And Yankel thought, well, I'm a tailor. People come to me all the time, and I repair everything that they bring with. Maybe I can do this. And he said, can you take me to the queen? I'm a tailor. And he said, yes. The queen has said anyone who comes into the city must come to see her, any tailor that comes into the city. And so Yankel was brought before the queen. He said, Your Majesty, I have come to help you. I can maybe help you with this garment. And she said, but Yankel, the problem is that the secret of the garment has been lost for so many years. And no one knows how the fabric is made anymore. The threads, where they began to come unraveled, they're just turning into light. Yankel said, well, I'm here, and I will stay as long as I can to find the secret. He forgot to ask what happened to the other tailors who did not succeed. And the queen brought the garment to Yankel, and Yankel sat down. And he looked at this garment, and he could not believe it, because this garment shimmered in light, and it felt so soft and so pliable. He looked at all the parts of the garment. There were no seams that he could see. It was perfect, and he pulled that fabric out, and it stretched as far as his arms could go. And then he let go, and the fabric went back to a smaller size. He draped it on his arm, and the fabric just stayed and fit perfectly. And Yankel looked, and then he looked down, and he saw that where the thread had begun to unravel, indeed it was disappearing into light. Now, hours had gone by, and Yankel just sat and marveled at this fabric when he didn't realize, of course, that the moon had started to come up. And as the moon came up in the night sky, it framed the window where Yankel was sitting. And as the moonlight hit that fabric, the fabric began to shimmer in the light. And Yankel looked at this fabric shimmering, and he thought, look at this. And then he saw that where the light hit the hem of the fabric, where the threads had begun to unravel, they began to grow back again. Yankel took out scissors, cut off a tiny piece of fabric, held it up to the moonlight, and watched as the fabric began to grow larger and larger. And all through the night, Yankel watched as that fabric repaired itself with the light of the moon. And the next morning when Yankel went to the queen with the garment, she said, "Yankel, you have done it. I must give you a reward." And Yankel pulled out a little piece of fabric he'd cut off and said, "Can I keep this as a memento?" She said, "Of course, Yankel. And not only that, but I will give you a bag of gold." And so Yankel began his journey home. And every night as he lay on the ground, he looked up at the moon and he held that piece of fabric up to the moon. And every night as he held that fabric up, it began to grow larger and larger. And he had many weeks and months to travel, but finally he made it back to the village. And when he came into the village, he had a large piece of fabric, and all the tailors gathered around and said, "Yankel, you did it, you did it." And they began to sew this fabric into a garment for the moon. And the tailors gave the sun that garment, and the sun gave the garment to the moon and kept its promise. And the moon still wears that garment today with pride and joy, because it was made from its very own light.
From the Moroccan Sephardim.
Y aquí traigo la fuente de agua clara, la novia de estrellas el pelo, se desmaya el caballero, ay novia vete a mi lado, cosa vicio y regalo,
Cosa de buen marido,
y darás ansia y suspiro.
Thank you very, very much. Before we do the last piece of the program, I just want to thank you all for being with us for all of these 25 years. It has been a pleasure performing for you and with you. I want to thank Hilda Schwartz, who's here, who was our very first board president. And hooray for you. And Rita Arditi, who was the first Sephardita, the first woman who comes from the Sephardic tradition, who came to our very first concert in a little room at Harvard, and she gave us the greatest of gifts. She cried. And we always know when there are Sephardim in the audience because they cry, and that is a gift to us. We know that we're doing it right. So for our last song, it's kind of the story of our lives. Are we ready?
At 1, I was born.
At 2, I was baptized.
At 3, I fell in love.
At 4, we were married.
2 kisses to the air. 1 for my beloved, and 1 for you. A la 1 yo nací, a las 2 me engrandecí, a las 3 tomé amante, a las 4 me casé. Dime niña, ¿dónde viene? Que te quiero conocer. Dime si tú tienes amante, si no yo te amaré. Dime